Okay, grade 12. So now I'm going to look at passing progressions. Now, passing progressions you can use anywhere in your harmony, and very important is that it can't replace your cadences. Okay, so anywhere in your harmony, the only thing that you need to be aware of is that the middle chord of the passing progression, which consists of 3 chords, need to be placed on a weak beat. Okay, so there are 3 passing chords, passing progressions that I'm going to be looking at, and the first one is the progression chord 1 to 5, 6, 4 to 1, 6, and this now can be either in a major or in a minor. In this example I decided to use F major as example. Okay, so what you can do is you can either harmonize it per chord according to your doubling rules, or there is a cheat, and that is actually to know certain patterns, certain scale degrees that you just use to complete it. I have to say I prefer using the patterns because then I know I'm not going to make any mistakes, no doubling mistakes or any parallel fifths or octaves. So that's why I prefer the patterns, and I'll show you how to use them. Okay, so like I said, the passing progression consists of 3 chords, and you've got a chord in second inversion, well, at least in the first 2 examples that I'll do, a chord in second inversion in the middle. Okay, now it can either be chord 1 in the root position, and then you've got your second inversion and then first inversion, or you can have your first inversion here and your root position here. So it doesn't matter, and you'll know where to use it if you just look at your harmony and you see a certain sequence of scale degrees that are used. That is basically your hint that you have to use a passing progression. So what you'll typically get either in the bass or the soprano, because that is what they normally give, is you'll have the following scale degrees: 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1. So one of these will be in the bass, and if you look at what I have here is definitely what I'll have in the bass is 1, 2, 3 because of my first inversion there. And then above it, it doesn't matter, you can have the patterns in any order, in any voice, but your bass is fixed between these 2. And then another thing that you'll have is 5, 5, 5 in your pattern, and then 8, 7, 8. So just memorize it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1, 5, 5, 5, 8, 7, 8. Okay, and one of these 2 will be in the bass. Okay, but like I said, because I first have my root position and I have my first inversion there, it's definitely going to be this one in the bass. Okay, so let's see how it will look. So now just think, what is my first scale degree in F? And that is F, obviously. So I have F, 1, 2, 3. So that's my first, second and third scale degree. As you can see, my middle chord falls on the weak beat. And then I'm going to have my 3 to 1, which I will put over here, 3, 2 and 1 in my alto. And then I'm going to write my 5, 5, 5. So in F major, the dominant scale degree is C. So you can either just repeat or write out the C every time, but of course you can also combine some of them. So say for example, put a dotted semi-brief there, or yeah, whatever. Okay, so you are allowed to combine them. Okay, and then the last one is the 8, 7, 8. So I'm going to use this one here. So there's 8, 7, 8, and oh sorry, that looks like a lollipop. That's better. So 8, 7, 8, and then my 5, 5, 5 is there, and my 2, 1 is over there. Okay, so a very nice way, a very quick way to fill your harmony. And like I said, I prefer using the patterns because then I know I don't have any doubling mistakes or parallel fifths or octaves. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. What you'll have is a chord 4 and then a chord 1 in second inversion, and then you have another chord 4. And like you had in the first example, one of these two chords will be in root position while the other one will be in first inversion. And I just decided to give you now an example of the first one being in first inversion, because over here I did it other way around. And again, it can occur either in a major or in a minor key. Okay, so the pattern that, or the patterns that I'm going to use to harmonize this, in other words, the particular scale degrees, is going to be 4, 5, 6, 6, 5, 4, 1, 1, 1, and then 4, 3, 4. As easy as that. So just memorize it. It's a very quick way to quickly fill a bar, or most of the bar, with harmony without making mistakes. Okay, good. So let's see. So because this one is in first inversion, this is the one that I'll be using. And like with this one of these two will be in the bass, and here as well, one of those two will be in the bass. These ones will never be in the bass, they will be in the upper voices. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'm going to, so the 6th scale degree in D minor is B. So I've got that 6, 5. Sorry, I'm just going to change this. Just make my note it's a bit smaller, otherwise I'm going to color forever. Do this. Okay, good. And what's very nice, just remember this, it doesn't need to work out like this, but it's nice to get country motion between your soprano and your bass, and that's exactly what I'm going to do here. So I have this, so I've got my 6, 5 and 4 over there, and then I'm going to have my country motion in the soprano. So I'm going to have my, I'm going to start on my G. Oh, sorry, I need to make that a minim. Okay, so now I have my 4, 5 and 6 there. So very nice that I have the country motion between my bass and my soprano. It's always a good aim to actually have. Okay, then I'm left with, so I've got this, then I'm left with these ones. So let's just see, I am going to put my D's here. So I'll use a minim here and then another minim here. Okay, so this is my one that I kept in the same voice, and then the only one that I still need to do is 4, 3, 4. So in other words, we need a G and an F and another G. Okay, so that's 4, 3, 4. Okay, so if you look at my chords, I also wrote the chords there. So G, B flat, D. You can see G, B flat, so first inversion, G, double G, G, B and B flat, D, and here D, F, A, and of course it's second inversion. In other words, I have to double the A, and the A needs to be in the bass. So this I just do to check that I actually work with the correct scale degrees. So there is my D, F and A, and then I'm not going to go through this one because it's again chord 1. Okay, so those are the ones where you can use a second inversion. So it's a fixed progression, so it's 1, 5, 6, 4, 1, and either of the chord ones will be in first inversion and the other one in root. And then the second example is where you'll have a chord 4 and then chord 1, 6, 4 as your passing chord in the middle, and then chord 4, in this case root position there. But like I said, whether you have root position there, first inversion there, or vice versa, perfectly fine. Okay, so then there's just one last passing progression that I'm going to go through, and that is to use the leading tone as your passing note and your passing chord. So let's just quickly use, let's use C major for a change. Okay, so say for example you have, so when it gets to the leading tone chord in the middle, there are only two of the patterns that you can actually still use. So remember, chord 7 belongs to your dominant function, and therefore what I'll use is the 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1, but that's basically all that I can use from the previous progressions, or the 1, 5, 6, 4 progression. Okay, so let's see. Let's use. Let's do the 3, 2 again. Okay, so say for example I have chord 1, and then I have my leading tone. This one will always be in first inversion, not second inversion, and then I have 1. So one of them will be in root position and the other one will be in first inversion. Okay, so now you have 3 different passing progressions. You have this one, you have this one, and then the last one that we're doing now is this, where we have chord 1 on either side, and that's passing chord 7 in first inversion. Okay, so because of my figuring, I already know that the 1, 2, 3 is going to be in the bass. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. And like I said, it's nice to have contrary motion between the bass and the soprano, which is exactly what I'm going to be doing here. Oh, sorry, I am writing the wrong notes here. Okay, I wrote 1, 7, 6 there, so I'm just going to quickly correct that. Okay, so that's the only thing with patterns, you need to make sure that you actually have the right notes. Okay, that's better. So now I have my 3, 2, 1. Okay, so now you have to fill in the other 2 voices, and you have to be a bit more careful of making mistakes when it gets to doubling and parallel motion. Okay, so chord 1, let's just quickly write it here for you guys. So it's C, E, G. Okay, and I already have the C and the E. My first option, my preferred option when it gets to doubling of a major triad, of course, is to double the root. So let's see. So I'm going to double the root. So then I have C, E, G. Okay, and then I just remember that I've got my octave there, and between the alto and the tenor, alto and the bass, I've got my fifth. Okay, so just keep it in mind as you harmonize to avoid faulty parallel movement. Okay, good. And then your leading tone triad is B, D, F. Okay, so I already have my double to D, which is the preferred one when we double a diminished triad. Okay, so all I need to still add is the B and the F, of course. So I'm going to have the B there and the F over there. Okay, good. I wonder if you can see what I have there. Okay, so if you look at this, You can see that I have parallel fifths there now. Okay, so that's why it's important to remember where your octaves and fifths are, so that you don't have parallel fifths and octaves. Okay, so let's see how we can actually just quickly fix this. Okay, so we have B, D, F. What I'm going to do is I will change. Let's see what I can change. Okay, I'm not going to get what I actually want. Oh, no, wait, sorry. I'm going to leave this as it is. I was like really thinking now, how am I going to fix this? I can actually get away in this particular example with having the fifths, and the reason for it is the quality of the intervals are different. So from B to F is a diminished fifth, whereas C to G is actually a perfect fifth. So like really safe there. Okay, because I was actually thinking to redo the whole example for you. Okay, so I will get away with that one. And now just the last one. So I have my C, E, G. So of course preferred one to double is the C, and the E is already in the bass. And so now I have C, and then I'm going to put this C here. This actually works out quite well, I have to say. So it's C, C, so I've doubled my C, E, and then I'm going to have my G over there. Okay, and that's basically it. Okay, so please just remember, guys, the only reason why I could get away here with the fifths is because the quality of the interval is different. If it's the same, sorry, you have to either consider a different doubling possibility, or not in this particular case, because you fixed in terms of your figuring, but you'll have then just to consider a different doubling possibility. Okay, so these are your three options when it gets to working with passing chords. Okay, good.